Welcome to the podcast. I'm Greg Larry, and we are having a reunion of sorts, and we're glad that you're here to share it with us. We got Jim Corley is helping me out. I guess I'm Greg Larry, and Jim Corley is here. And our special guest, Dean Cramer from the Bret Michaels Band.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, great that you came, Dean. It's awesome.
I'm more than happy to be here. You guys are great. I love you guys.
And since you're here, I'm in my Kiss and purple.
Yes,
and
I know.
I match your hair.
Jim has that great, that poster. It's classic, and it's just everything about it. We're
Have
huge
you
Kiss
noticed
fans.
it's not exactly the classic poster?
Now that you say that, yes. Because wait, what is the
They're
difference
all
here?
alternate takes.
Oh,
Different, all from the same photo session.
so it might even be maybe even cooler than the classic poster.
Well, I made this.
Look at that. It looks fantastic.
We're going to take all our time talking about shirts.
That's
And there's so many other things to talk about.
That's
Yeah,
right.
just to give
That's
some background information, all of us are from Cumberland, Maryland, and we've known each other for many years, going back to when we were teenagers, really. So this is great to have Dean in town. Dean lives in Virginia now, and of course he's touring with Bret Michaels, but he took time out today to come to his hometown. So he's doing some gigs. He still does some local things with some acoustic musicians, and so we thank you, Dean, for taking time out in your schedule.
My pleasure, man. I'm always happy to be up here in Cumberland and see friends.
Yeah, awesome. We're just going to make this informal, so
So take your shirt off.
Nobody wants
Skin
that.
to win.
Nobody wants that.
We need some heavy editing done. But yeah, let's start out with, for those of you who don't know, Dean, of course, is with Bret Michaels. But Dean, a little bit of your background. When did you start playing guitar?
Whenever I was a freshman in high school. So basically I've been doing this since I was 14 and a half. And actually I was originally going to be a drummer. Peter Chris shirt
There
on.
you
There
go.
you go.
There you
There you
go.
go. It was huge inspiration. But yeah, I was going to be a drummer. And then when I got my first band with Tim, Dave, and Jeff Sears, I just went in as a singer. And the only reason why I ever picked up guitar is because we were playing some songs, Detroit Rock City being one of them, that needed a second guitar part of some sort, rhythm, that kind of stuff. So Tim actually was the one who showed me the basic chords. And he'd
Tim
only been playing.
Haynes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it turns out he'd only been playing for 6, and I didn't know this till even 5 years ago. He'd only been playing for about 6 months prior to that. He was, of course, taking lessons off Mark Gallant's.
Well,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's that chain.
That's
where it comes
that's
from.
why he was good, because he was taking them from Mark, but anyway, yeah. So that's the only reason why I ever picked up a guitar, and now 46 years later, that's what I still do for a living. So.
Now, I can't remember who it was that told me this, but somebody told me that you went into your bedroom with a guitar, and about 2 years later, you came out.
Oh yeah, well, it's just like a
Talk about woodshedding.
Yeah. No. Lord knows I certainly picked up the needle and dropped the needle a million times on, again, all the Kiss records and all that kind of stuff. It's exactly it. Some people. Tim was actually a cassette guy, and I could never imagine going too far, not far enough. Too far, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I guess not that the needle was that crazy different, but no, but once we got in that first band, it was just nonstop, because we learned songs for every week, and we started playing shortly there and after, high school gigs and that kind of stuff, because we were 14.
What
years
band
old.
was that?
Aries.
Aries, okay.
Ariez. Yep. Dave Klein, of course, was playing on bass, and then Jeff Sears was playing drums, and of course Tim was the other guitar player and stuff. But it was crazy, great.
Yeah, you guys were a local success. I saw you play many times when we were teenagers. It's so cool to have relationships that go back this far. And that's what you're looking at here. And I watch you playing house parties, little pubs, all that stuff. And,
Oh yeah. Well, it's what we do around here.
Skating rings.
We just skating rings.
Skating
Absolutely.
rings, yes.
Starlight. That's absolutely.
Man.
But yeah, but we do still have some. I still have some cassette recordings. of Aries back then and stuff like that. So one day I'll build a bonfire and burn them, so nobody hears them. But
yeah, you got to keep those.
It's but it's cool though. But it's weird though that we look that far back. Obviously, after Aries, then there was Rox, ROX, which is a spin-off kind of basically of Aries, and bringing in Gary to go ahead and be our singer instead. And I ended up playing bass for a year. and stuff. That's the only time I didn't actually play guitar, for at least in the band wise. But then then Cat House,
Idiots.
Cat
and
House,
Idiot's
I remember
Rule,
Cat House.
and
SOS.
SOS. And for the most part, for any of like the serious legit bands, I would say that's probably it.
I remember you played 2 gigs with one of my bands back in the 80s.
Oh, well, see, there you go. And what was
The
it?
Agents.
Oh, really? See, I wouldn't remember the name at all.
Well, you only played 2 gigs with us.
Well, maybe it was a secret society.
I
The
don't know
Agents.
what it was,
What's
but
the name
I
of the band? I can't really talk
I
about
can't
that
really
right
tell.
now.
Yeah, right.
We're
right.
not allowed to.
But I think you played Constitution Park with us
Okay.
and Stonehenge.
Stonehenge.
Oh, we've got all kinds of stories about Stonehenge.
Yeah, Stonehenge is a
you ever
completely
play
separate
Stonehenge?
thing.
Oh, we don't talk about Stonehenge.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
one of those, you play Stonehenge, you don't talk about it.
Yeah, it's like going to Vegas.
Yeah.
The musical Vegas. Let's not even.
But hey, then your career, eventually ends with Bret Michaels, but it wasn't an overnight thing. Obviously, you met a guy named Steve Whiteman.
Yeah.
Tell me about that connection. Of those of you who may know that name right off the bat, he was the frontman singer for Kix.
Sure.
It was a huge band in the '80s and the '90s, but tell us about how that evolved.
First time I ever met Steve was actually Cat House was actually playing up at Visions up in Kaiser, Burlington, at the Stone House.
Okay, right.
So we were playing up there, and I remember, I don't know if it was before the first set or after the first set, we were all downstairs in the dressing room, restaurant, whatever it was down there, and somebody said, hey, Steve, the lead singer from Kix, is out there. Like, let's go out and let's play Kix songs, because he'll love that a band plays Kix songs whenever he has a night off. And I'm sure we're going to do them as well as Kix does them. So we went up there and we said, okay, we'll do. We did Atomic Bombs. So we started off with that, and I remember getting through the first verse, chorus or whatever of that, and then I hear the second verse, hear the people scratch on the shoulder door, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that doesn't sound like Gary. And I turned around and Steve was sitting there singing, like right in my face. I'm like, oh, how cool was this? Because I did ask him before we started that set. I said, hey, would you like to get up and sit in with us? And he's like, no, I'm fine. It was him and his wife Kelly, and he said, we're just out for a night out. Appreciate it. Thank you. All that kind of stuff. And so I was quite surprised whenever I turned around and he's there doing that. Luckily, somebody, I still don't know who it was, there's 2 or 3 photos of at the end of us wrapping up that song. One looks like, I'm getting ready to go ahead and shake his hand. Hey, thanks for coming. The other one looks like he's still kind of rocking out anything. So there was all that. And then whenever I got in with Idiot's Rule, a couple years after that, then we were going to go ahead and do Cold Shower. And I couldn't figure out the beginning words. Hot, hot night, heat falling down. That. And so I just somehow or other got his number. I think it was from Bobby, who used to work up at Q94.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. So I think maybe he was the one where I got Steve's home number and everything. So I went and I called it just out of nowhere. I'm like, he'll answer. Why wouldn't he? Because he didn't know any better. But anyway, so his wife answers, like, hold on a second. He's in the shower, but I'll get him. So anyway, so he gets on the phone, and I said, hey, my band's doing this. What's the worst of this? And he was just, cool as could be and everything. And he told me what I wanted to know, and I said, okay, thanks, man, appreciate it. Okay, bye, whatever. And then years later, then I see that he was, I was kind of getting out of all my stuff and wanting to just be a better singer. And Kix had broken up. He had put in some ads in the local music papers, and said, giving vocal lessons.
Right.
And I've said, I've never seen him suck, so I'm going to go ahead and go check that out. So I went to go ahead and start to get lessons, and I was getting lessons from him down in Hagerstown, so I drive from here down there to go and get them. And so then he knew that I played guitar, and he was doing some original stuff, which ended up being, for funny money. But he's like, hey, can you throw down a guitar solo for this? So I ended up doing it. And he goes, wow, I knew you could play it. I didn't know you could play that well, whatever. He just never really heard me. So anyway, so I ended up doing it, and that's how I ended up getting in with Funny Money-wise, was that whole thing. I went down on a Sunday. They were actually just going to do a 4-piece with 1 guitar. And for Steve, that was very weird after decades with 2 guitars, always hearing all that stuff, and certainly hearing the kick stuff. So it's supposed to be his tunes and then Kick's tunes that he had a hand in writing. That was the only songs that band was going to eventually play. So I went down on Sunday. I got back. My girlfriend's mom at the time said, somebody named Steve called. Said, you got the gig if you want it. Now, whenever I left there on Sunday, which is down in Frederick.
Good phone call.
Exactly. He said, give us till like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Didn't take
And
that
I'll
long.
let you know. By the time I got home, I got the phone call and stuff. So we started. We had like maybe a month's worth of rehearsal, and then we started playing and did it for 18 years. I mean, I ended up leaving actually in the middle of that for a brief time period. Well, brief, probably was about 2 years. But I went and I recorded, my solo band record, that kind of stuff. I did that, but I actually left the band because I was going to go ahead and do something with Sebastian Bach. That's
Right.
the reason why I
Remember that.
left.
I talked to you during that
'Cause I was-
period.
Exactly, yeah. So I was just going up to his house up in Jersey, and we were rehearsing. And again, it's surreal. Talk about major Kiss
remember
fans.
all that.
It goes back to being a Kiss fan.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, come here. Like, put your guitar down. First time I get up there, put your guitar down. And everybody goes,
Gotta
come on.
show you
We
some
go
stuff.
upstairs. Yeah. Like, hey, let me check out this Kiss pinball machine. Check out all this other Kiss stuff that I got. And I'm like, well, I'm here to jam with you, which was surreal to begin with as well. And then I'm kind of crashing at his house and stuff. And he goes, oh man, here's the Kiss Alive. Ace gave me this actual copy.
And he lost a lot of that
He
stuff
did during
in
the
Hurricane
flood.
Sandy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Really devastated, that kind of stuff. But anyway, that didn't pan out. That didn't end so pretty.
Yeah, I
Which
remember
we
that
don't.
was like almost within a grasp. And
Oh, it was.
crashed.
It was. Well, yeah, it was weird. It's just the blunt answer is that, hey, I'll see you in 2 weeks. We have rehearsal. Okay. And then he never would pick up the phone after that. So Steve was the one who actually called him. We were playing. Funny man, he was still playing. And he goes, hey, how's things with Sebastian? I go, funny you should ask. Well, do you want me to go ahead and call him? Yes, please. So we played that Saturday. We were up in York playing. And then Sunday, then he calls me. He goes, don't bother. Just got off the phone with Sebastian. He said, yeah, he was looking. He goes kind of industry stuff where they go, hey, they got you, but they're maybe really looking harder at somebody else. But if that guy doesn't work out, then they still have you, covering the
So
bases
they're
as well.
stringing you along a little bit.
Yeah. When obviously, you don't know that kind of stuff, and that's what happened. He said, yeah, they're gonna go with this other guy and stuff like that. And I like, yeah, but he wouldn't reply back.
Right.
And yeah, in fact, he goes, yeah, Dean kept pestering me. I'm up here in Canada. We're doing the celebration of life for like his dad or something along those lines. I'm like, all I did is ask, hey, are we still good for rehearsal in 5 days? And I got nothing. And that was his definition of pestering him or something. So anyway, I haven't talked to him since. We've
Right.
passed each other in the hallways, and I don't even know if he remembers who I am anymore.
I'm sure he does.
I think he might, but he never makes eye contact.
Yeah.
So
Right. So
You know.
okay, you go through that, then you've got solo that you've played,
Which is
with.
Dean's talk about that solo project or original music.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all original stuff, and it started because back with Cat House, and I was the one basically writing the songs. I mean, I was writing the songs, so it was very much like a Van Halen, where you know that most of the music per se is Ed, and then Dave takes care of the lyrics and vocals and that kind of stuff. So it was very much Gary and I, my brother, the same thing, doing that kind of stuff. So whenever I did it, I went and recorded all those songs, and I did keep a couple old Cat House songs. I re-recorded those, so obviously Gary had written those and that. So anyway, record them, put them on cassette, hand them out to a couple of my friends, and they go, hey, I like this music. What's it called? Or what's the name of the band? I'm like, it's not a band. It's just me by myself, solo.
Solo.
Yeah.
There it was.
So whenever I finally decided to go ahead and play some
S-O-L-O-W.
gigs, exactly, rather than going your standard solo, I'm like, I'll make it a little more creative, solo, 2 words. And that's literally how it came. But everybody always pronounces it wrong. They go solo. I'm like, no, that's a grunge band. Solo. As soon as I hear it, it's like solo, Han Solo.
So how do you make the step from solo to? See, I said it right.
You did correct. Okay.
Yeah, to the
Michaels.
Bret
Yeah.
Michaels Band.
Probably about, I guess this was maybe about 3 years ago. So Pete Evick, who is the longtime and only longtime guy for Bret Michaels, his guitar player in a solo band. His band used to open up for Funny Money down in Virginia, back in the beginning of Funny Money. So we're talking about 96, 97.
And you had moved to Leesburg, Virginia, is that correct?
I was in, first I was in Chambersburg, PA, but that was still whenever Funny Money was around. And then whenever, and my wife and I, we ended up moving down to, she got offered a job in Northern Virginia, D.C. district area. So we had to move closer, so that we went and looked down around the Leesburg area, and it's crazy expensive. This was 16 going on 17 years ago.
Oh.
So we just moved a little bit further out, which is fine with me because I like quiet and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we ended up buying a townhouse down there. So while we were doing all that and still continuing, Funny Money wrapped up in 2014. So our last gig was December 31st, 2014, because Kicks had gotten so busy at that. Steve just like juggling all that kind of stuff. And
well, I saw an interview where he said he was basically competing with himself.
Yeah, right, exactly. And of course, financially wise, it wasn't even anything close, right, and that kind of stuff. So anyway, so I was just doing whatever it took to go ahead and keep playing guitar and making a living wise, teaching, everything else. And so then Pete reached out to me, and I saw that he was doing an acoustic gig up around where I live. And I said, hey, man, we just kept in touch, like rarely, but could be every couple of years, 5 years, since like 96. And he was doing an acoustic gig around the house. And I said, hey, I'm teaching. I'll come pass by there. I'd love to come just say hello and catch up some more and stuff. So he goes, well, bring your acoustic. You can, sit in for a couple songs. Okay, sure.
Now tell people Pete Evick who he is, because he's the key that brings you into the Bret Michaels Band. How long has he been with Bret?
He's been, I think Bret's been doing a solo thing about 22 years now, right? So, and of course, Poison gets together like maybe roughly every 4 or 5 years. So, but yeah, so Pete's actually his solo band, or Pete's Evick band, had been turned into Bret's solo band. Like it went from Bret needs a band because he wants to play this gig in this area. Pete's a huge Poison fan, so it just happened to work out. And I mean, it really just gelled, and now they're best friends.
Pete's
all that
band
kind of stuff
became Bret's band.
It literally became the Bret Michaels Band.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So as a couple kind of people, fell by the wayside, whatever, a little bit, maybe enjoying a little bit too much rock and roll, whatever. They kind of need to break to go ahead and get their stuff together.
Hey.
Absolutely, yeah. So I go ahead and I reach out to him, and this was, like I said, probably roughly about 3 years ago. And so then I brought my acoustic, and he goes, okay, you want to get up and just play like 2 songs with us, something like that? I was like, fine. So I think we end up playing the next 2 hours straight through, and we end up closing down the bar. So, of course, after everything was done, then Pete's like, what are you doing? I didn't know you could sing and all that kind of stuff. And so, I said, hey, I'm just looking for the next step up, that anything that I can do. So we sat there, and he goes, well, so Eric, the bass player from Cinderella, and then Chad, the drummer from Faster Pussycat, they were doing something called the Ultimate Acoustic Rock Show, and that was the whole idea of, again, just going out playing their favorite songs that they inspired by, all that kind of stuff, and just do it that way. And so he goes, we're looking to do it after the first of the year. Would you be interested in coming in, and we're going to do a full live up volume thing? Would you guys would you be interested in coming and being the guitar player? He goes, I don't know if you know this, but I really just want to be a singer. So he's been playing guitar all this time. So it's like, absolutely, I'll be part of that and everything. So we end up doing it. And so that meeting with him was probably ballpark September. And so then as things came up in January or February of that following year, we actually all got together in Manassas, the 4 of us, and played the show. And we were hoping to last longer or do more than that. But Eric really, he's in good financial position, so he only does what he wants to when he wants to, and stuff. But and we would all love to, of course, go back out and get some more of those type shows in. But we took that whole idea and just did it as a 3-piece acoustic thing, which is the Ultimate Acoustic Rock Show. that we have, of course, even coming up here in the area and stuff like that. So we've been doing that. We've been doing that all over the country. We do it on the Monsters of Rock cruise. We're signed back up on that again.
Really,
and stuff.
hasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's super cool. Again, something just different.
When I first heard, you were just doing it kind of around Virginia when it first started, and now you're getting gigs across the country. Really.
Oh yeah, well, and straight up, I mean, Pete and Chad, both very connected in the industry. I mean, big time. They really are, and so Pete's been, just to give proper kudos to Pete. I mean, and I try to do it every chance I get. He's been instrumental in all this, kind of basically plucking me up and putting me in situations and, connections, however you want to do it. You really do. I saw another friend of mine, Matt Starr. Do you know Matt Starr?
Yeah.
Plays for Ace and lots of other people. But so he came out to the show up in Boston a couple months ago, but he put out a video. And I told him, it's like, man, that was a great video. And it was simple as, for those of you looking, because he's always looking for inspiration, and he does like life coaching stuff for music stuff. He said, for those of you looking to go ahead and go to the next level, the only people who can get you to the next level is somebody who's already at the next level. In other words, somebody has to basically pull you in, Somebody has to open up the door and kind of pull you into that. And that's exactly what Pete did to me. We had a lunch, and he goes, I just want to get together. This was after like our acoustic thing, get together. And he goes, I just want to go ahead and see what you're about, just talk to you, and that kind of stuff. And we left there, and Pete said, let me make some phone calls. I think, you should be doing better than what you're doing, as a word, for lack of better words, and stuff like that. And then there in May, so I'm in the middle of teaching, and we had a gig up in New Hampshire at the end of that month, so it was only about halfway through the month, and I thought he was calling about that. So I was in the middle of teaching. I said, Pete, can I go ahead and call you back about 9 o'clock? I'm in the middle of teaching. He goes, well, it's important. Can you talk now? Okay, yeah, what's up? And he goes, are you busy this weekend? I'm like, well, Pete, I'm busy every weekend because that's what I do to make a living. Yeah. He says, well, would you be interested to go ahead and fly to Mississippi to play with Bret? And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, I think I can make that work. I think I can make that happen. Yeah. Yeah. So he said, might need you Friday, or we're looking at Friday, might need you Saturday, but we think we already have Saturday covered. So I'm like, anything's better than nothing. That's absolutely fine. So anyway, he hits me back and goes, yes. Okay. So we're good for Friday. So he sent me the set list. I went ahead and worked on those that night. Got up next day, worked on some more, went in and taught for 8 hours or something goofy. And then went back, worked on a little bit more, and then left for the airport probably about 5 o'clock in the morning, Thursday morning. We always fly out a day ahead of time, make sure we're there on time. We grabbed a couple acoustics and went into his room and spent, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes going over just parts, little pieces of songs to make sure what I had come up with worked with what he was already playing for decades,
right,
and all that. And he gave me a list of, hey, here's all the parts you need to sing on. Didn't tell me what to sing, just you need to sing on all this kind of stuff. So we went ahead and we did that. The next morning we had a lobby call at 9:30 to go over and do a sound check over at the Air Force Base. And at 9 o'clock he goes, hey, can you come down? I need to talk to you. Sure. So he goes, so Bret wants to know if you can come to Des Moines tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, well, had I known, I would have brought a second shirt. Yeah, something like that. And so I said, yeah. And he goes, basically, he's asking you if you want to join the band. Wow. So now Bret's never heard me play nor sing, and quite honestly, he's just going completely off of Pete. So of course, I go, well, Pete, you already know the answer. And he goes, well, don't you think you should go ahead and call your wife and everything? He's like, yeah, that's probably the smart thing to do. So anyway, I called Sherry and everything. So anyway, she was like, yay, and everything. And I'll see you in 2 days instead of 1 day, all that. So we went and no rehearsals. We just went and did it. We did the sound check the way that we still do it to this day and stuff. But did all that. And then probably, and now how that came about was that date wasn't on the books for Bret. And then I believe it was on Monday. The band's STP, Everclear, and Hemorrhage.
Fuel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Damn it.
Fuel.
After all that. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry.
You know, I even thought of them at one time and went,
Well,
no, it's not
hopefully
it.
my description was correct. But so it was those three bands were out doing almost like a USO military tour. So on Monday night, apparently, so something happened, medical emergency happened with the bass player from STP. And so they couldn't go ahead and play that upcoming show on Friday. So they called, I guess, on Tuesday to go and see if Bret was available because Bret's huge on military support. So it was like 10 minutes before the show. And then Pete's like, hey, come here a second. So we went over to Bret's trailer. And so I walk up in there, and he goes, hey, this is Dean, new guitar player and stuff. And so I put my hand out to go ahead and shake his hand. He came up and gave me a big hug. He goes, welcome to the family. Just have a great show.
Wow.
And that's literally then turned right back around, went on out and played the show, and it's been like that
Just
ever since.
Just to say, if you're out there and you're a musician, an artist, or no matter what you do and you're plugging away at life, Dean is an example. Dean was, I hope you don't mind saying, into his 50s.
Oh, yeah.
And had been successful, absolutely successful. But through the people he met and contacts that he met, he became on the stage and part of Bret Michaels Band. And all of us from Cumberland all of a sudden are seeing pictures come up on Facebook. Dean on an 80-foot jumbotron. There's Dean with his
Right.
purple guitar, and
Right.
we're like, this is hometown guy. It's just great feeling.
I hope you know how many people are, when you post something, are back here going, yes. I hope you know that.
He's our guy.
It's crazy. I mean, it's still surreal, and the support, and that really is the word. As far as I'm concerned, I've gotten support for the past 46 years from Cumberland. So I per se don't. It doesn't surprise me, but that's also what's nice about a small town. Everybody kind of knows each other, and people are actually nice and cool enough to just kind of say, good for you. And I've really tried to, on my end, I've tried to kind of up myself. Just as we get older, we'll have that talk, but as you get older, you're more appreciative of everything.
People.
That's so true.
And you like to acknowledge
People
things and give
also
people
like
credit and a little pat on the back. They might not need it at all. They might be, or they might really appreciate it, and you won't ever know that.
And there are some people that just thrive on putting people on a pedestal so that they can kind of tip them off of it. But
Right.
I haven't experienced that with like your posts and things like that. I don't see anybody that's like, everybody's like.
Well, I get in, I edit everything as fast as possible, but block.
But it helps with
That-
being a good guy, as you will say.
That's exactly it.
You're getting
you
a payback from, you always got other people up. I've played up in Frostburg, and you had me come up and do a couple of songs, And
Well, but it is, I'll be honest, it's more of a recent event, as in I'd say maybe the past 10 years kind of deal, just simply because I love playing. So I don't want to give my guitar up to anybody else to play because I do want to play. I'm never here, go do 5 songs so I can go, hang out and go do something other than what I'm actually here for. I'm always like that. But, like if you guys show up, it's like, I know you guys can do the job. So I would love you to come up and do the job in front of people who might not have heard you do the job before. Yeah. What I have right now is fantastic. And again, you can't buy, kind of what I've gotten out of this, that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize it till I was in it.
Well,
it can't be given to you. You just have to go ahead and whenever you do it, you have to work for it. You just kind of keep doing it, and hopefully it's all luck. Anybody who makes it, it's luck.
Well, what I love about the whole Bret thing is that he's got this kind of rock and roll Jimmy Buffett vibe going with the show. Yeah. And not only have you gotten the chance to play with Bret, but you've played with Mark McGrath and Steve Algeri from Journey, who did a great job replacing Steve Perry. Not too many people can do that, and he did it. And Lou Gramm, for God's sake.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So when I see your video clips, and I'm like, and Dee Snider, when I saw D come up and put his arm around you while you're playing a lead, and I'm like, this is just freaking cool.
It is, and
It's surreal.
but you have to be up there, because my whole thing is, if it's a rock and roll thing, then it needs to look like a rock and roll thing. In other words, we're there to entertain them.
Right.
And so I have to try not to sit there and get sucked into a situation where I can sit there and just stop playing.
Or wet your pants.
And look at exactly. Sit there and soak it in, as it were. So, and after a while you kind of take it for granted because, all those people for the most part have been repeat visitors to the stage and stuff, and Night Ranger. I mean,
Yeah.
Night Ranger. I mean, probably my favorite band from the 80s. I keep saying it, just, music-wise, I could put it on to this day, and I still get all that out of it. It's just amazing, and to have those guys come up and say hello. And
Everybody out there probably wants to know, what's it like to work with Bret Michaels? So let's get that out of the way.
Bret's great. A lot of the stuff that crew, everybody's been around at least as long as I have, including all the crew guys and stuff like that. Other people have been there for up to 22 years, and that kind of stuff. So everybody's great. It really is that little family thing. Everybody just has a great time hanging out together. It's not like everybody immediately goes psh, like that. In fact, if anything, I'm probably the one guy who will go sequester himself and get away from everything in general wise, whatever. I'm a homebody. So stuff like that. But yeah, Bret's been nothing but gracious and everything like that.
All on stage,
and he's
you
always
guys interact on stage.
Oh yeah, well, and it's his whole thing is, you hit it on the head. The whole Jimmy Buffett. Of course, he was friends with and a huge fan of the Jimmy Buffett and Kenny Chesney. Just up there to have fun.
It's a great vibe.
Yeah.
It really is.
And that's all it is. And the whole idea is like, hey, come on out, have a good time. Whatever happened on the other side of those doors doesn't matter right now. And a lot of people, particularly nowadays, I think we need, everybody needs that little mental break of that kind of stuff. So Bret gives 110% with everything. He expects 110% of everybody around him and everything like that. So, there's lots of behind-the-scenes stuff that I will say there's never the rock star thing. At the end of the day, everything's Bret's decision and a set list. People go, hey, man, can I have the set list at the end of the night? I'm like, I would if I had one. So whenever I first joined the band, that
you
very
guys
first
really
night.
don't have a set list?
Unless we have guests. If we have guests, then the guests need to know exactly when they're going to come out on stage, disappear, come back, all that kind of stuff. That is all that. But even within the confines of that, Bret always, of course, has a list. But that first night down in Mississippi, and again, with my eyeballs being what they are, you print up a set list this big, and I can't read it, right? So anyway, I'm printing it up so it's more like this. Each one's this big and stuff. So my set list is like about this big, like 2 papers worth instead of like this, and everything. And everybody's like, "What's that for?" I'm like, "Well, it's my set list," and I'll put it up, behind the scrims on the drum monitor so I can see it. And he goes, "You don't need that. Bret will let you know what song we're going to do." I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, we
stuff.
want to know if there's a reality show that's going to come out now that you're with Bret and you get in. Can Jim and I do some cameos? Maybe if you hit this reality show, Bret starts another one up. Just keep us in mind.
Oh no! It won't be a Bret thing. He didn't tell you we're actually starting this one today.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the reality
This
show.
is it.
This is it.
Yeah, we got together and decided that you were doing lights or something.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to do like 10 episodes, but we're only shooting an hour's worth of footage, so we're really going to count on those sponsors to eat up some time. Stretch.
Well, Dean, thank you so much. And before we let you go, you're just bring him up to date. He's playing tonight. The thing about Dean is he's a professional musician or a rock star touring the country, but when he's plane touches down and he gets off at BWI and comes back to this area, Western Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, he plays.
Heck yeah. I've absolutely
playing.
gotten off, went to my house, grabbed my acoustic, and
watched your Facebook page and I'm here and I'm flying here and I got to drive here, and then tomorrow night in between those I'm teaching 2 classes. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, he'll play for,
it's
10,000
the
people
hustle.
last night,
It's the hustle that and that's what I was talking about before. It's not there isn't a deserving thing. It's a I just, if somebody goes, man, yeah, you really earned it, whatever word you want to put on it, I just go, I know I've done the work to get to this level. And again, there was no guarantee anything was going to happen. Exactly. That's there is no end game to the whole thing. It's always going to continue. But I have came up with the thing over probably the past year. Everybody's like, yeah, man, you're on the run and everything. I can't go home. It's like, yeah, I can't wait to get home and pet my wife and kiss my cats. So I should get a shirt done up on that.
That is a perfect segue as we close this thing out. You always see on Facebook you're a big person involved in animal fostering and helping animals. How did you get into that? And
growing up in LaVale-wise, it's we've always had cats, and of course, cats get pregnant, and so we've had more cats and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually partly where the cat house name came from, because we always rehearsed at our house. So it was a cat house, so we just called the band Cat House.
I always wondered that.
There you go. That's it. Yeah,
that's cool.
And but yeah, so
a lot of good work with that.
Well, we absolutely, I share all the time, whether it's Instagram or if I see it on Facebook, and you've made, you make so many, again, connections now with the internet, all that kind of stuff. Now, granted, we don't do any fostering. If they come into our house, they're staying. That's just how we are and stuff like that. So not like we're opposed to it. It's just we couldn't do it because I don't think we could let them go, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I made tons of friends like that. In fact, I have a shirt that I usually wear on stage. It'll say adopt, foster, rescue, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And people, now come up, I'd say over the past year, come up and go ahead and go, man, I love the stuff you do for animals. And I'm like, that's great. Let's do it together and everything. So, yeah, that just never ends.
Yeah,
it just
doesn't.
Go to
Dean's Facebook page, Dean Cramer's Facebook page. He's always posting, I think you do dogs too, or is it mainly cats?
Oh, yeah. No. Any animal needs rescue.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Trying to find
It's probably about 9 out of 10 of my posts at this point. And you can always tell whenever, like in the middle of the night, because whenever I see one, and of course then you scroll to the next and there's another one, I feel like crap if I don't share it.
Yeah.
I mean, it only takes a second. I'm sure if people were there to go ahead and see funny videos and look at my music stuff or something like that, they're going to, unfortunately, they're just going to have to sift through that. So, but that's a small price to pay to even, you never know who might see it and go, that's the one, I can help.
Yeah.
I'll catch you tomorrow.
Nice. Oh, fresh beers together.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you going to wear a KISS shirt tomorrow?
Great Locust Post Brewery.
I can do that.
Great
what one do you want? I'll surprise you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because I won't be wearing this one, but I will be more than likely wearing another one of the new Alive ones and stuff.
Jim and Dean are huge KISS fans.
I know. Well, I appreciate that you, just so it didn't look contrived, that you took off your KISS shirt and put that one on right before we started filming.
I had
I think
Gene
that's
Simmons shirt on.
He had the face makeup on before you got here. It was kind of embarrassing. I walked in and went,
"Hey, you think Dean will like this?"
Yeah. It wasn't done real well.
It wasn't good. The mustache really threw it off.
I don't think Gene ever
it's like,
wore a mustache.
what do you think? The fox? Oh, take that off. You need to take that off.
Don't do that.
Don't be the fox.
Guys,
No, he had a big
Eric didn't want to. Yeah. Look, I'm the Egyptian fox. What? That's not a thing.
I'm Turtle Man.
Sure, yeah, Turtle Man. That's right. I remember that one. Turtle Man.
Jim, anything else?
I think we covered a lot more than we thought we were going to cover.
Part 2 sometime.
I would love to.
Well, we might split this one.
I would love, and we need to have guitars, and we need to be doing some playing and singing. That would be fun. I would like to do that.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be great.
That would be the blast.
Dean Cramer, thank you for coming here, lead guitarist for the Bret Michaels Band. They're one of two with his pal Pete Evick.
Pete Evick, absolutely.
They great job with them. And, of course, Jim Corley, my friend Jim Corley, helped hosting the show. I'm Greg Larry. Thank you for tuning into the podcast, and take care.
Thank you.